Somewhere in a government archive, there's a document. It lists names, not ages, not stories, just names, locations, and tissue sample numbers. They're children's names, and their parents never knew. For nearly a decade, the US government ran a classified program that collected tissue samples from deceased infants without telling their families. It had a name designed to sound friendly. What is this? Let's dive deep. This is the After Dark File, and tonight, we're opening Project Sunshine.
You're listening to The After Dark File, where we open the cases that were never meant to be found. What you're about to hear has been documented, verified, and quietly buried until now.
Okay, so to understand how something like this happens, you have to understand the year 1953. The Cold War wasn't an abstraction back then. It was a weight people generally carried every day. The Soviet Union tested its first atomic bomb in 1949. The US responded with hydrogen bomb tests in the Pacific. Now, both sides were detonating weapons of insane power, and the fallout literally was spreading across the entire planet.
Wait, when you say fallout was spreading across the planet, what does that actually mean? Like, where does it go?
That's exactly the right question. So, scientists understood that radioactive particles don't just stay where you put them, right? They enter the food chain, they settle into the soil, and they get absorbed into bones. And one isotope concerned them above all others. It's called strontium 90. Now, obviously we don't know what that means, so I researched it. Strontium, it's such a weird word to say. Strontium 90 is a highly radioactive, man-made isotope produced during the nuclear fission. So because strontium 90 shares chemical properties with calcium, our human bodies treat it as calcium. And when the body ingests it, like contaminated dairy or produce, it incorporates into our bones and teeth. And this can persist in our bodies for decades, pretty much.
What's special about strontium 90 specifically?
Okay, so this part is where it gets more disturbing. Because it goes into our bones like calcium, it accumulates as we age. And in younger children who have rapidly growing bones, it accumulates much faster.
So children would have the highest concentrations.
Children would have the highest concentrations, and the Atomic Energy Commission needed to measure how much strontium 90 the population was absorbing. They needed bone samples, fresh ones. And it's from people who had grown up entirely in the nuclear age.
And by people who had grown up entirely in the nuclear age, you mean?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean children.
Okay, so what did they actually do?
In 1953, Project Sunshine was quietly authorized. And look, internally, the logic was framed as urgent public health research. They were trying to understand the human cost of nuclear testing. And honestly, some of the scientists involved genuinely believed they were doing something necessary.
That sounds like the setup for a but.
There's a big but. The methodology that they chose is what makes the story what it is. Researchers working under the program began collecting bone and tissue samples from deceased infants and stillborns in the United States and the United Kingdom and Australia. Hospitals and morgues became, without public knowledge, collection points.
Without public knowledge. So the hospitals knew, but
the families were never asked. In many cases, they were never even told any tissue had been taken. They buried their children, believing them to be whole.
okay. I need a second with that one.
Yeah, take the second, because it gets worse. The program ran for years. Estimates suggest thousands of samples were collected, and some researchers involved later recalled that the secrecy wasn't incidental. It was considered operationally necessary.
Operationally necessary. What does that even mean in this context?
It means, and I'm going to read this part exactly because I don't want to paraphrase it. It means consent. They had decided would complicate the science.
Complicate the science.
Complicate the science. So they just removed it from the equation.
Okay, so how did this come out? Was there a whistleblower? A leak?
No, and that's actually one of the more unsettling parts. Project Sunshine wasn't exposed by a whistleblower. It wasn't some dramatic leak moment. It came out slowly, the way these things usually do.
Slowly how?
Through declassification requests, through persistent journalism, through the quiet, unglamorous work of people who noticed that certain documents didn't add up. In the 1990s, a series of investigative reports and government reviews, including findings connected to the Energy Department's own Human Radiation Experiments Inquiry, began pulling the story into the light.
So this took decades to surface.
Decades. Families in Australia and the UK were among those who eventually learned what had been done. Some launched formal inquiries, some sought answers for decades.
And what happened when it all came out?
The governments involved acknowledged what had happened, and apologies were issued. Carefully worded. Investigations concluded.
Carefully worded apologies. That phrase is doing a lot of work.
It really is. The documents were filed away.
And that was it?
That was it.
Can I say something? What's strange to me about this story is there's no villain, like a clear one. There's no person you can point to.
That's exactly it. That's the whole unease of this story. It's not because it involves monsters. It's because it doesn't. The people who ran Project Sunshine weren't sadists. They were scientists, administrators, bureaucrats. Bureaucrats who had convinced themselves that the scale of the threat justified the scale of the response.
That in a world where nuclear fallout was drifting into the bones of every child born after 1945,
some things simply had to be done quietly. Yeah. And here's the thing. That logic says extraordinary circumstances justify removing consent from the equation. That didn't begin or end with Project Sunshine.
you're thinking of the other programs.
It runs through the history of Cold War era human experimentation like a thread. Project Sunshine. These are similar to the Tuskegee study. The Tuskegee study is a U.S. public health service which was conducted in the 1930s, specifically 1932 to 1972. So this was to document the natural history of untreated syphilis in black men, rooted in the white supremacist, medical myths, and systemic neglect. This was used to trick hundreds of African men into believing they were receiving free medical treatment, but instead they were intentionally denied life-saving antibiotics like penicillin, even after it became the standard of care. And there's another one called Project M Cultra. It's spelled M-K-U-L-T-R-A, M Cultra. And this agency is a Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. This was during the Cold War paranoia around 1950s to 1973, where the CIA believed the Soviet Union and China had mastered brainwashing and mind control. It utilized the vast network of universities, hospitals, and prisons to conduct mind control experiments. Researchers secretly dosed unwitting civilians with LSD and utilized extreme sensory deprivation and psychiatric depatterning on patients. Tuskegee study, M Cultura, different programs, different agencies, different justifications.
But the same fundamental decision.
The same fundamental decision that some people's autonomy was negotiable. The parents whose children's remains were taken without permission, most of them never received a direct personal acknowledgement. And most of them are gone now too.
So the people who deserved an answer never really got one. And the people who could give it are gone.
The samples are cataloged somewhere, the documents are filed, and somewhere in that archive, those names remain, listed carefully, next to tissue sample numbers, in the handwriting of people who believed they were saving the world.
I don't think I have anything to add to that.
Yeah, honestly, neither do I. Here's what I keep coming back to. Somewhere right now, there's a filing cabinet, or a server, or a box in a government archive that nobody's opened in decades. And in it, there are names, children's names, next to tissue sample numbers, written by people who are mostly dead now, who believed, genuinely believed, they were saving the world. And nobody is coming for those files. Nobody is going to declassify them out of guilt. They'll just stay there, the way they have for 70 years. The parents never knew. Most of them never found out. And the ones who did, they got a carefully worded apology. And that was it. That's the part that stays with me. Not the program itself, but the silence afterward. 70 years of silence, sitting in a filing cabinet somewhere with a name on it.
I keep thinking about the handwriting.
What do you mean?
You said it yourself. Written by people who believed they were saving the world. Someone sat down with a pen and wrote a child's name next to a sample number. Not maliciously, just routinely, like paperwork. That's what I can't get past. Not that it happened, that it was ordinary.
Yeah. That's exactly it. This has been the After Dark File. New cases every week. You should subscribe so you never miss what they're trying to hide.
Every week we open another case, another file that was never meant to be found. If tonight's story stayed with you, good. It should. This is the After Dark File. Good night.